Hard work, work.
Hard work, that's what they say.
Hard work, work.
Hard work, I earn my pay.
Hard work, work.
Hard work, do it every.
All right, but that's the USS Kid Class Destroyer. All right, now what we want to do is we're going to go into our Navy question of the day. Navy question of the day. And the Navy question of the day is, why did you join the Navy? Who want to start us off?
Sure. I joined the Navy straight out of high school. I was 17. Got recruited from St. Thomas, Virgin Islands. And it was so quickly and last minute that, like I said, when I went to boot camp, I didn't know anything. The guy was like, hey, here's your backpack with all the paraphernalia in it. I never opened it. I was just gone. Got to boot camp. I didn't know anything. It was a horrible preparation in it for me. But it was needed because there wasn't much opportunities back at home. Got there. Oh well, part of it when it was June 2001. So I got to boot camp. That was before 9/11, and the recruiter was like, "Yo, we haven't been to war since this year. You know, there's nothing to worry about." Da 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 da. And then I was coming back from a remedial swim, but and then we got back to the compartment, and it was like, "Yo, we gotta go." And we were like, what's going on? And they show us on the TV that the planes crashed into the buildings, and everybody was like, I'm gonna be in the desert with a gun in my hand. Like, we didn't know anything about anything. All we knew was everything shut down. That was an interesting experience in boot camp. Then I went to the Porter from there, but that was the reason, just opportunities, something to do versus staying back at home. Accelerate your life. That was the motto. Yeah, that's a little something.
You gonna go next? Who gonna go next?
I'll go.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So, I was definitely so unlike your story, I was ROTC for a few years. So before joining the military, which is another reason why I'm mad I joined as E1. But anyway, so I joined. The question, why did I join? So I joined because I had graduated high school and I was living with my boyfriend and his mother, and I couldn't go. And I was working 2 jobs, dead-end jobs, working at a grocery store, working at CVS after the grocery store. And I just felt like I'm doing back-to-back jobs. I have a boyfriend who won't stop smoking weed long enough to join with me. We were supposed to do it together, but he wouldn't stop smoking. So eventually I just said, I'm going to join because I don't want to go to college. And I know that I want to retire early. That had been a goal of mine since I was 9 years old. So I didn't go in the Navy thinking I would retire from the Navy. I went in thinking this is going to be a great stepping stone so that get to where I want to go. And that's why I joined. And to further just say, for me, what was so different from a lot of people is I come from a very strong militant Black family. So when I joined, it was like, what? Your government property? You joined to be you know? How could you do this? How dare you? You know, and that was that's how I joined.
That's good. What I did was that? High school, my senior year. I was like, well, I got to take these SATs to go to college. That's all was in my head. Go to college. I got to take the SATs. And, the first day came, I didn't make it. Second day, the SATs came, didn't make it. Third day came, didn't make it. And then it was like January, just my senior year, it's January. And then, thought in my head was like, damn, man, I ain't making these SATs. Do I really want to go to college? Yes. And then I was in English class one day, and this QM2 DeWard, Navy sailor, came into the office. That's why you should have went in. Brooks always did presentations. Came to the ward, came to the office, and I remember my English teacher name. Can't believe I still remember Miss Gilliard. She's like, "Hey, you got came to the ward here, and he just has a few words for you." And he came out there, gave a little short presentation, and he walked out. You know, and I saw that. And I went and spoke with one of my cousin's boyfriends, and they said, "Yeah, he was in the Navy Reserves. He was in the Navy." But I went to talk to him. He's like, "Yeah, I was in the reserves. I can't be on this ship for that long now at a time." You know, so I went and talked. You know, saw Q2 walking in the courtyard at lunch, and I was like, "Hey," I started talking with him, and he asked me if I want to go and take the ASVAB. I was like, "Yeah, I'll go take the ASVAB." So I went and took the ASVAB. I was in the upper middle group, Brooks. I was in rock. All right. I'm sorry for those that wasn't in the upper middle group. I didn't mean anything by that. All right. I was a recruiter. That's how, we group people. But we'll get to that too. That'll be some good stories right there. Recruiting, yeah. Oh my gosh. So I took the ASVAB, I was like, yeah, I want to go in the reserves, because I had that back in my mind. My cousin's boyfriend told me, he started talking with me, and I was like, yeah, I need to go ahead and do this, So I went down there, started signing me up. I was 17 at the time. And so he's like, yeah, you got to call your mom down here, to sign to sign for you. So I was, I called home to my mom, and I was like, "Hey, Mom, I'm down here at the recruiting office." Cake. She was right there signing them papers, smiling. Yeah. She was out the door. For real, man.
Bye.
For real. I was like, damn. I was in North Charleston. She was in Charleston. And I tell you, man, I was on that phone. I was like, "Hey, Mom, I'm down at the Navy office." Click.
Oh, I know what that is.
Came down there, signed them papers, smiling, gave me the thumbs up, and she was out the door. For real.
Wow.
She was all smiles and stuff. And the reason I joined the Navy is, man, all the dudes that I, that's hanging on the corners on my street, they was, dudes just hanging on the corners of my street. I didn't realize, that they was all drug dealers. I didn't realize that. These just guys in the neighborhood, guys in the neighborhood I knew and stuff, But yeah, I joined the Navy because, I ain't really playing, I grew up with my grandparents, and all they used to say was, "Hey, there ain't nothing out here for you, man. Ain't nothing out here for you." That's all they ever said.
Right.
That's all they ever said. Ain't nothing out for you, man. But I joined the Navy, and probably, considering some of my other good friends out there, they just stayed there. It's probably the best thing that ever happened to me. When I said, "Hey, I'm joining the Navy." All right, but yeah, I kept putting off them SATs. I was like, I'll take it next time. Got to January, I was like, damn, we only got 2 more times left to take this bad boy. What I'm gonna do after that? Man, I'm gonna pay for this, And my mom was like, "Hey, I ain't got nothing for you, buddy." You already said her. You already did yours, right? Hers? Did you do yours, Brooks?
Yeah. So I joined mainly because at the point in time I graduated and I was trying to get in right after high school and went to MEPS, and this was back in 95. And then they said, looked into this big medical book and said, no, I don't think you can join right now. You had this condition when you was 15. Come back and see us in 2 years. And at this point, I'm thinking, I ain't coming back. 2 years went by, and then I was working at this plant, and all of a sudden, I'm like, 18, 19, get ready to turn 20, and I'm feeling like after working this plant for a couple of years, I'm feeling like I'm 35 already. So I'm like, I don't see this in my future. And then after working there and going to school, this community college for a semester, I said I don't see this as a long term. So, and living at home with my parents, I say, this ain't gonna work for me. So I went down to MEPS, and at the time I was 20, and it was like, so this is 97 January, I remember. He was like, so what do you want to do? I say, it don't matter, anything. When are you looking to leave? I say, like yesterday. So he's like, okay, well, we can get you undesignated engineer, and then you can leave in 5 days. I say, so
Dang.
sign me up. Wasn't even enough time to give me a depth card. Yeah.
All right, we like those though. Oh, we
So
love
yeah,
those.
that
In much shipper.
that yeah. So that was my reason. I just was ready to go, ready to leave the house, and didn't see myself forecast and working in this plant for like other people in my community. So yeah, I think that was one of the best decisions I made.
All right. And since we got a little bit of time, um, what was your first day of MEPS like? What was your first day of MEPS like? I know when I went to MEPS, it was like well, of course they put us up in the hotel, me and the other guys, everybody trying to chase tail because there's females there. We didn't get no tail, so we woke up or we woke up early in the morning. Woke up early in the morning, and then um, give you this freaking got to do all the physical and all that stuff, and they start you up with that moment of truth, right? Of course, the moment of truth, and my C story is got to deal with this, so I won't give it away right now. But they start you off with these questions, they recruit a lie to you and stuff like that, of course we did. But but it's just, no, recruit ain't lie to me. Q briefed me very well,
Got to get
and
that brief.
yeah, gotta get that brief in. And then go to the physical, the duck walks and all that stuff, and then some dudes couldn't even do it. Then the physical, I remember, you got to bend over and you got to cough. And I remember they kicking one dude off because he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do that. I ain't this and I ain't that. I'm not doing that. They kicked him out for that at the physical. It's checking for a hernia. And after that, that's like I said before, we sat down with the classifier. And that's when I told him I wanted to be the CS, and he said, "No, you want to be a GS." And I looked at that sheet and thermodynamics and all that math stuff, and I was like, "Man, ain't no way, man. I do quarter cups, third, 3/4 cup, full cup. I can do all that stuff. Teaspoons.
Hey.
I can convert all that stuff. Thermodynamics. That's a little above my head, But it wasn't a little above my head when he offered me that $2,500 signing bonus, which I thought was the most money in the world at that time. He said $2,500. Of course, you think you'll get it, as soon as you sign it or whatever, but you don't get it until you graduate A school, of course. So I became a GS, and I was like, yeah, I'm this engineer. Hopefully, I don't flop, because I'm like, oh my gosh, what GS. And this is before all this internet stuff, because I didn't know what a gas turbine tech was. I just got the little description, But that was my first day at MEPS, becoming all the way through. How was your day at MEPS?
Oh, I'll go next if that's okay.
Yeah.
My day at MEPS was the best day freaking ever. So the night prior, we stayed at the Red Roof Inn. And the next day we ate at Denny's for breakfast. I
Oh,
was
y'all
like,
got Denny's for
Dang,
breakfast?
you got breakfast? What?
What?
so
I got
first
hotel food. Y'all got Denny's?
Right.
What was this at? I joined on out of Charleston, South Carolina, and they took me to Fort Jackson. But where was you at?
Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia. Man, Denny's.
So, and then the moment of truth, we did have people raise their hands. There was a recruiter that got in trouble for making a fake diploma, she told, under that pressure.
Ooh.
Um, and then there was me who was wondering if I should tell the truth that I had broken my hip bone and my femur bone in half a couple of years prior. But I decided they gonna have to catch me. So I'm
Don't you get into the moment of truth and it starts racing through your head? You're like, damn, I should stand up because I know what I just did a couple of weeks ago.
absolutely. So when it was time to do the crab walk, that's when everything stopped because I did the crab walk and they were like, do that again. And I'm like, you know how painful the crab walk is.
Yeah.
So do it again. Nobody else has to, just me. So I do it again coming up the other way. And they like, do it again. Because to see something is not right here. And I had to relearn how to walk. So even today, my regular walk, something is wrong. So here I am now doing this crab walk a third time. And I'm just like, okay. And pretend I'm in pain, but really I just want to cry. And it was after the third time they were like, you're good to go. And I'm like, yes. God, I wish I would tell on myself now. Yeah, it was just great.
When you got to the classifier, was it crypto that you first got?
Yeah, so when I sat down with them, I didn't know anything about what a cryptologist was, and neither did that person who I was sitting down with. They were like, all I know is when you have surgery, you can't be put under because you may tell some secrets. So if you break your leg, they're going to have to, have somebody in the room with you, and you're not going to be allowed to get numbing medicine. So I'm like, I don't want to be a cryptologist. Oh, heck no. And luckily I didn't let that put, I almost was like, no, what's another option? Because I'm gonna need anesthesia if I break my leg. It was just so stupid, but this is what this man has in my mind. But so I started asking what were the other options, and he was like, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. You did very well on the ASVAB. This is a great opportunity, a great rate, and you're gonna be a spy. Like, take the job. And so that's what I did. Yeah, I went in to be a secretary. That's what I wanted to be. So, I mean, I was.
Dang. Okay.
So,
And on the table they had GSE on there. Just to it was GSM, GSE, and I read both of them, and it was GSE, and I was like, damn, that's even more math. So I had the opportunity to be a GSE, and that's something I should have freaking done. What about you, Brooks?
I think my day at MAPS was pretty fast. I mean, when I got up in Columbia at Fort Jackson, went over to MAPS. I didn't have any special in the morning like some people. But I had the hotel bag lunch in the morning, and then got the maps, and it was pretty fast. And so I'm contacting my recruiter because I don't think he was expecting uh, my day to go so fast. So by 1 o'clock, I was done, and then I was calling him saying, "Hey, I'm ready." And so he traveling from Florence to come pick me up. He said, you know, I guess he was expecting me to have a long conversation with the classifier. But as I said before, I told him I was ready, you know, let's go do it. And so what he did was he contacted the classifier, and he's like, hey, he got good scores on his ASVAB. Tell him to take the nuke exam while he waiting on me to come pick him up. So I'm like,
Oh.
I don't want to be a nuclear engineer. And so they say, okay, well, you here. Go ahead and take the test. So I basically Christmas tree the test. Boom, 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 boom.
Uh-huh.
Because I don't want them to lock me in if I pass it.
Yeah.
And so I took the test, and then they basically knew, looking at the test, I had a little Christmas tree drawing on it or whatever. The way the dots was going. And so by this time, it's like 2 o'clock. I'm starving because they only give you lunch. They don't give you no dinner, waiting on that
Yeah.
recruiter to come. So it's 2 o'clock. I'm like, where you at? So then it 2 o'clock turned to 5 o'clock. This dude ain't come get me. I'm like,
Yeah, he got to drive all the way from Florence. My recruiter had to drive all the way up from Charleston. But he was
right.
there. He was there waiting on me though. I ain't gonna lie. He's out
This
there.
dude was not here. I remember. He was aviation, AF, one of them airman ratings or whatever. Brown, Nathan Brown, remember him? And back then in 90 was it 97? He had a beard. My recruiter had a beard. He always had a little brush with him. He brushed his beard. I'm like,
No
oh,
shave shit.
I ain't know nothing about no shade shit, but I said, dang, recruiter. This was the only recruiter I knew that had a beard in the whole office. I was like, okay. So yeah, he didn't come get me till about 5:30, 6 o'clock. And
What?
then I had to go to work that night, and I went to work on the line. I say, man, I'm out. I came in, checked in with my boss. He said, man, hurt him get online. I said, man, I ain't getting on online. And that was it. 5 days later, I was gone.
5 days later. In Mount Simple. Oh, they like you. They don't want
Mm-hmm.
devils out of that pool as fast as they can.
Ain't
Oh,
lying.
we could talk about that. But yeah. Just share with us your what was your day like at MEPS?
Day at MEPS, they flew us from St. Thomas to Puerto Rico, so we spent the night in Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
Went
that's
to
right.
I forgot the port, Fort Buchanan. I think that's what it was. I think that's where the MEPS was. So we went there, did all the little things, and then I had to speak with a classifier. I don't know anything about nothing, because when I first heard about the Navy, I thought I was gonna be on the ship in the middle of the ocean for my whole contract. That's what I thought the Navy was.
Yeah, that's
I'm
what
gonna
I
be on
thought
the ship in the ocean. I'm
That's
gonna
how
be
the
gone
Army
for
tell you. They say, okay, this way you're gonna be a
Yeah,
quarter
yeah.
in the big ocean.
right.
We,
So
we got
I'm
some,
like, all right.
we got some stories.
Yeah, so go talk to the classifier, and he's like, I don't know what a rate is. I don't know what a rank. None of this stuff is. He's like, so what jobs you want to pick? He's like, you're an island guy. You guys like to cook. You could be a CS. I'm like,
You
I don't want to
guys
cook
like to
any.
cook.
You like curry chickens and stuff. Like, I don't want to be a cook.
You guys like to cook.
So I guess he showed me a couple stuff, and he showed me the GSE rating. Like just like you, I'm like, this is a lot of math. I don't want to do all this stuff. But then he's like, man, you should take this. It's good. It's one of the newest rates that's out. You know,
Yeah.
It
was the newest rate when I went there, Cohen. That was in 1990.
Yeah. See? So eventually I'm like, all right, let me just pick it because I don't know what none of this stuff is. And this guy, he's been in obviously longer than me, and he says it's a good choice. All right. Had no clue what I'm getting myself into. But picked it, didn't get any advancement, didn't get any bonuses, nothing. Just have a good day. And I mean, that was the sum of it for my MEPS experience. Just another number.
Another number. Oh, they go she went out. But there she go. All right. But yeah. Let us know in the comments, what was your day like at MEPS? Let us know why did you join the Navy or any service branch? Why did you join? Tell us in the comments. All right, down below. But that's some good stuff. U.S. Navy question of the day. What your day at MEPS like? And Bell was getting Denny's, and I'm getting hotel food. So that's some bull.
Hey,
They
Puerto
need
Rico.
to look at that damn
Right.
contract.
Hey, you got left in Colombia. Like, we all got MEP stories, boy.
I know.
QM2's on point now. QM2 DeWard, my recruiter, he was on point. I mean, he was at every time, as bad, bam, right there. We can took me to the bus and was at the bus station, waved me off. It was like cha-ching, you know.
And then when he
You know,
came and
another
got me,
one
he
gone.
didn't even stop and give me a sandwich or nothing. I mean, gracious.
That's
But I
terrible.
get my hats off to two.
Hard work, work.
Hard work, that's what they say.
Hard work, work.
Hard work, I earn my pay.